There's a cursor on top of this. Kalam bahu titan badre kamar nadyapi tuchyati. Translation word by word. Sambada Vishana, rejoined with his testicles. Oh, that's a good one. You have to remember those Sanskrit words. Sa he, api also. Indeed, Ajaya, he indeed. Ajaya with the she goat. Kapalab daya, whom he got from the well. Kalam for a time. Bahu titam, of a long, long duration. Badre, oh my dear wife. Kamai, with such lusty desires. Na, not. Adya api, even until now, Tusyati is satisfied. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport is Divine Grace. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. The Marjayati is telling a parable to his wife, which resembles the activities that he and the wife went through. He'd come to the point of realizing that, what was I thinking? How did we get here? And this is not the best thing, and let's go for devotional service to Krishna. So he's speaking about the he-goat who was castrated by the father of his wife. And then he begged to get restored to sexual prowess. My dear wife, when the he-goat had his testicles restored, he enjoyed the she-goat he had gotten from the well. But although he continued to enjoy for many, many years, even now, he has not been fully satisfied. Srila Prabhupada's purport is Divine Grace. When one is bound by affection for one's wife, one is attached to sexual desires that are very difficult to overcome. Therefore, according to Vedic civilization, one must voluntarily leave his so-called home and go to the forest. Pancharadvan vanam rajet. Human life is meant for such tapasya, or austerity. By the austerity of voluntarily stopping sex life at home and going to the forest to engage in spiritual activities in the association of devotees, one achieves the actual purpose of life. Om Gyantimarandhyasya Gananjana Shilakaya Chakshura Unmilitam Nena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master is kindly opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto him again and again. So everyone, please make a prayer. Please make a prayer. Each person take a moment to pray to Krishna that what we have to say here is only what we've heard from Guru and Shastra, with no inappropriate motivation and no distortion. We want to pray that we say what Krishna wants to say, because you can take the Bhagavatam class and go all over the place and avoid what Krishna wants us to say. So if you pray like that, Krishna will help us, because I can't do this by myself. Okay, so the verse is about renunciation. The verse is about understanding that we need more. We were interviewing a Buddhist monk in London, and he told me that he was inquiring, searching, seeking, and he was a little shy about the whole idea of spiritual life. And he was, at that time, he was a college student. He was doing some labor in a garden, some kind of an institution. And there was another laborer there. And he really didn't want to say anything about here and there in the conversation while they're working. The laborer would understand that this Buddhist monk, he wasn't a monk yet, but that he was interested in spiritual life. And the laborer, very low-class man, was laughing at him and criticizing him and questioning, why are you interested in this stuff? You know, this is just phantasmagoria, just fritter fratter, nothing substantial. Get to work. And then another college student was also engaged there in this, working in the same area. And when he heard the laborer criticizing this pre-monk monk, he said, I'm also interested in spiritual life. And the way he expressed it is kind of an interesting way that he said to the laborer. He said, ordinary life is not enough for me. I need more. Ordinary life is not enough for me. I need more. And Queen Kunti explains a kinchana gocharam, a kinchana gocharam. A kinchana gocharam means it comes to the point where we actually understand no matter how I rearrange the furniture, different sexual partner, a different job, a different location, something about this world is incomplete. If we're on the sinking ship, the Titanic, we may get extra pillows, an extra drink, a bigger stateroom, but the ship is going down. None of those other things are actually going to solve the danger that we're in. We're in danger. Some people, they're surprised to hear, don't you know that scripture says that you're trapped on the cycle of birth and death? The cycle of birth and death, again and again, growing old, disease, die, again and again. Don't you know you're trapped on the cycle of birth and death? And it's going to go on and on unless you take the steps to free yourself. This life is a life of suffering, and there's a cause for the suffering, and there's a solution to the suffering. And we begin to inquire, Atato Brahmatignasa, the first Vedic aphorism, Atato Brahmatignasa means, now that you're in the human life, it's appropriate to inquire about the nature of the spiritual dimension. The animals are inquiring. Where is food? Where is a sex partner? But beyond that, bodily maintenance inquiry, a human being has the option to ask about something more profound. Wait a minute, where am I? How did I get here? Vaishya Shekhar was telling us last night that the material world is a bewildering place. And the Gita explains, you can't see the beginning or the end of this complicated tree that we're lost in. We're lost. We don't know how we got here. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what the options are. But if we hear from someone who is awake, then we can focus our energy, our time, our desires. We can focus on devotional service to Krishna. And Krishna is so wonderful. Can everyone say, how wonderful is Krishna?
How wonderful.
Yeah, how wonderful is Krishna? That he's not going to let us rot. Prabhupada uses that word rot in this material world. That he's calling us, he's reaching out to us, that he's reminding us, Jeev Jago, wake up, sleeping soul. Don't remain sleeping in the lap of the Maya witch. Get up and get out. Tamasima Jyotirgama, don't stay in darkness, come to the light. And so when we become a little bit sober, and we realize the dangerous and precarious position we're in, and we begin to inquire like that, Sarvasya Chaham Riti Sanivisto, Matas Mrityu Gyanam Apohanam Cha. The Lord in the heart sees that desire, and he gives us access to a book, a devotee, information about how we can actually make progress. In this world, the really sad part of this world is that we're separated from Krishna. And that and it says everybody in this world is envious of each other. Oh, horrible, Prabhupada, how horrible. That everyone in this world is competing grossly or subtly. I'm better looking. I'm smarter. I have more money. I'm stronger. Bhima just checked in with his horse over there. We can see the pasture, but not the horse for some reason. He's pointing the camera at the sky. But one time when he was attending Radhanath Swami's program in Athens, Ohio, he told me he had this attitude about Radhanath Swami. And he said, well, he's very intelligent and he has a lot of wisdom, but Bhima actually told me, I was thinking in my mind, because Bhima was a boxer, if it came down to it, I could kick his butt. He was thinking like that about Radhanath Swami. He was there going to classes in the temple preaching center, and he was subtly thinking, I'm stronger than he is. And then Radhanath Swami challenged him one day. Here he comes. He's touching the camera. Radhanath Swami challenged him one day and said, when are you going to surrender? He's been coming to the preaching center again and again, doing service and taking prasadam and doing the kirtan with the devotees. And Radhanath Swami said, when are you going to surrender? Bhima, what did Mara say to you?
First of all, I never had a thought in my mind about anything to do with doing anything, kicking anything near except myself in the head near Radhanath Maharaj. I was saying that the devotees I saw at that time, who were very thin and emaciated because the austerities that New Vrindavan devotees were going through were unprecedented. And they would come and visit at the Athens temple. I was majoring in pre-med nutrition. So it was all about eating right, of course, vegetarian, but eating really right and taking care of yourself. And here was the devotees, a lot of brahmacharis thin. There were pictures on the wall of the Goswamis with, thimble arms and stuff like that. And I would say the one thing that's wrong with this perennial philosophy, a philosophy that applies to everything, is that sarira vijja, my body is a lump of material ignorance. Meanwhile, my whole life was dedicated to the philosophy of health as well, eventually learning about spirituality. So my thing, what Radhanath Maharaj would say, when are you going to surrender? And I would say, well, when, you show me the strength of the devotees, their health. I was very young and bold and boisterous and asinine. And he challenged me in front of a whole class to calisthenics, an endurance and strength trial of extreme calisthenics. And the long story goes, he planned it, and we had to do it in the upstairs room of this cottage that was over 110 degrees because we're in Athens, which is a valley, and it was in the middle of summer. And he kept me in there for an hour and a half doing jumping jacks and sit-ups and push-ups and running in place and et cetera, et cetera.
He was also doing, right?
What's that?
He was doing it with you? It was like a competition?
Yes, jump for jump, everything, every move. If he did push-ups, I did them side by side. Boom, 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 boom. If he was doing sit-ups, is 1, 2, 3, like that. A squat thrust, just kept going, and it was an hour and a half. And
how old was Radhanath Swami's body then? How old was he?
He was 33, and I was 23. Yeah. It was like 30 years ago, 30 some odd years. But long story short, he defeated me, and I was just off the season from fighting. It was fight season, so we were only a month off it, which is one of the reasons why I went to the temple, because you could gain back all your weight by eating prasad, get back into normal weight class. And so we loved Radhanath. The whole boxing team loved Radhanath Maharaj. And but we all said, hey man, Bodhi, you become sickly, and you become, you hate the body. This is an aesthetic discipline, and we didn't want anything to do with it. We were having too much good time in college. So long story short, I fell in love with him the first time I heard him sing. So I would never think
Okay.
I knew that Krishna was right behind him.
I misheard you, but you had some idea that you were stronger. Okay.
No, yeah. It was a philosophical.
So then what happened after he defeated you?
Oh, well, see, the bet was if he goes, this is not gambling. He prefaces, this is not gambling, but this is, you have to put some honorarium or a vow of honor on it. And he goes, if I defeat you, if I'm so weak, because I said in front of the class, jokingly around, because he made fun of me. I was telling a story. He made a little joke, and everyone had a great laugh. And I said to him, well, at least I'm not weak, because the devotees are weak. The devotees are weak. I didn't know any devotees. I only knew who was visiting, and it was traveling book distributors, and those were all brahmacharis, and they were all very thin. A lot of them were sick at that time, but he said in front of the class, I challenge you then, right there, right in front of like 12 co-eds, like 6 girls and 6 college guys, and a couple of from the boxing team. Everybody's like, whoa, this is Maharaj, because they all had grand respect, like everybody does these days. They had unbelievable respect and affection towards him. And everybody was, whoa, he's challenging you. So he didn't say a thing for 6 months, and then he took me to task for an hour and a half in a 110-degree room, and I got sick. I couldn't bear it out. An hour and a half, and the vow was, if you defeat me, I have to shave up. So, and I had never even had a thought of shaving my head. Never occurred to me, being in college, to shave my head. So there's more to that story, but that was what was placed on it. And if I won, he would never ask me to shave up. I would never have to be like the brahmacharis that I saw coming through. I could be my own guy. So he defeated me, and later on, there's another story of how he had me pay my obeisances and run a clipper straight over the top of my head. So, yeah.
He personally shaved you up, huh?
Yes, he did. He made it known to the people that were present that Bhima is going to fulfill his vow, a man of great vow, a boy of of big vows. And he said, Neil, and then he asked me, he had the clipper running, it was buzzing in the background. He had the clipper running, and he had it behind his back. And he said to me, we do not force anybody to do anything in Krishna consciousness. This has to be your decision. Or would you like to be a man of your word and shave up? And he goes, but we're not going to force you. You.
Uh-oh. We lost Bhima there. I think he's out in the middle of the fields with his horses. And Bhima's done a lot of service over the years. Unbelievable. By the grace of Radhanath Swami, he's in one sense kind of like Radhanath Swami's first disciple.
All right.
So up there you
go. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
In and out. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is getting tedious for other people listening, so just let me go. I was turned into the mudha that I am, and Maharaj is the greatest kshatriya I've ever met in my life. Hare Krishna.
We underestimate how Krishna empowers the guru. Radhanath Swami is very austere, extremely austere.
The program.
Huh? Okay, you're going to mute yourself or keep talking either way?
I'm sorry, I'll mute me.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Anyway, so we're talking about that progress toward surrender. what I like about this story is that Marjayati, he came to that realization, and then he had the courage to speak to his wife and say, you know what, I'm looking for something better than this. Let's do something else. And they came to spiritual life. And they even though it was a roundabout process, and he actually gave up his youth again, gave it back to his son, Puru. So let's hear any reflections, comments, angles of vision. Anybody like to contribute? You're welcome. We like to hear your voices. Dr.
Hi,
Sheikh,
Krishna.
are you there? Oh?
Hi, Purusha Prabhu. It's
Yes,
Andrea. I just wanted to thank you and Bhima for bringing up the topic of those pastimes with Radhanath Swami, because it, in a way, obviously Krishna always arranges things perfectly, but that story was such a perfect example of renunciation, but with like a fight to it, like how we fight against it, and then how, as you said, like the Lord really empowers his messengers. And I thought it was so, I can't believe that I didn't even think about it, because I read Radhanath Swami's book, and he was like with the yogis, and he was doing these extreme austerities. And when you meet him, if you don't know that, maybe you would think, I could beat him, I can. And he was like off living with like the tigers and, doing all these things. So I really appreciate the two of you opening up for those stories, because maybe I'm just a child at heart, but I learn best when those kind of stories are shared, and especially when it's people that are contemporary. It makes it more real. So thank you so much.
Right. We're not just talking about something that happened millions of years ago, far away. Anybody else, please? Dr. Sheikh, you're there?
Oh.
Yes.
Would you mind speak? Let her speak.
Oh,
Yes.
no. Oh, thank you, Adi. I just, there's so many thoughts that run through my head about what you've already presented. And I think it's just really beautiful that Bhima shows us his real strength. And of course, he's named after that which is so strong, but his real strength is now how he's showing his devotion to his guru and his humility in that pastime. And it wasn't in all his strength. So that's one thing I thought, what a perfect name for him, because he's showing us his true strength. And then the other thing I just thought of when you were talking about the word atto, which I think is always like that now, the imperative of do it now. And isn't it so many scriptures begin with atto, now, do it now, while we have this precious human birth. And it's always such a reminder. And like you say, Visheka Prabhu is one, he don't waste no time. He's always like every moment. So I need to hear that a lot, because I waste quite a bit of time. So thank you so much, Adi, so much in this little class. Thank you.
Dr. Sheikh, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Adi. Did you get any sleep last night?
No rest for the wicked, we say.
Yeah. I was just reading something about envy. You were mentioning envy, and I was reading how Lord Chaitanya actually initiated Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami the first time they were together, and all the devotees were there as well. And Lord Chaitanya asked all the devotees to please bless these two brothers. And the devotees were very, very happy to do that. And Prabhupada was saying in the purport that a Vaishnava is not envious. He's always happy to see others advance. And if someone is actually spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, then why would a devotee be envious of doing that? So, but that is what the point of that was. A devotee is non-envious, and that is, I thought that was a pretty profound thing, because, like you said, everybody is envious of everyone else in this world, and it can start really subtly, by thinking, oh well, this person may not be as good as he is, but he's just, he has a long way to go, So all these things actually erode our devotional access to Krishna when we think in that way. Even a little tinge of envy can cause us to cause our devotional connection to be impaired. So we have to be really careful. I was reading about that in Srimana Shiksha. Raghunath Das Goswami is talking about these very subtle aspects of envy that can take us over without even thinking about it. So we have to root these things out before they even start.
Very good. Julie, you wanted to say something? Julie there? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry. I just wanted to say thank you, first of all. But I was thinking that between your introduction and the story told, it was such a nice reminder to surrender every morning. And that, you know, I know for me personally that I often think the blessing isn't just waking up, but it was such a reminder that the blessing isn't just waking up, but it's that I get another chance to serve Krishna and his devotees. So thank you kindly for that.
Anybody else? Gail, you're here this morning? Maybe not.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just hearing everybody. Thank you.
All right. Angel?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
No, I'm also listening, but one thing that did cross my mind was how when you were reading the verse, it was how interesting in the books it describes how the instant gratification of that sense gratification, that's the one concern that a lot of people seek for, or even myself, in this human life. When it comes to, I don't know, the moment that I try to turn away from listening to kirtan, I feel the different vibrations and I'm like, oh, this is not me anymore. And I'm happy that I can let go and move away from listening to my old, I don't know, even like the Titanic song and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm slowly moving away from it, and I'm realizing that the only thing I really want to think about is Krishna, and there is love in other music, but it's not the same kind of love. So that's just redirecting my mind to Krishna is so satisfying, fulfilling, but it doesn't cause any distortion in my actions, so, or in my internal vibrations. But thank you so much for the time that you've actually taken to review this, and for serving Krishna's children, and every day for setting that example. Hare Krishna.
An interesting flip to go from being subtly or grossly competitive, envious of other people, to being appreciating other people. The gopis were in such an exalted position and such an intimate relationship with Krishna, but as soon as they thought themselves better than anyone else, Krishna left them. As soon as they thought, oh, we're really good devotees, Krishna left them. So the advanced devotee is thinking, everybody else is serving Krishna so nicely. I aspire to do like that, but I'm so grateful to see their wonderful example, and I'm really, really blessed to be surrounded by people who are more advanced than I am, humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, offering all respects to others, expecting none in return. In such a state of mind, we can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. And like Dr. Schick was saying, it's an impediment, that it's not pleasing to Krishna. When the pride is a horrible, ugly attitude. Yogi Purusha always used to say the first sign of intelligence is humility. An intelligent person will be humble. Anybody else? Please, we'd like to hear your voices. Jump in.
Hare Krishna, Adi Purush Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So yeah, I know you have had personally a lot of experiences at New Vrindavan, so it was good to hear that from Bhima Prabhu. And I think I've heard you also recount this. So yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say it was good. Deepak.
Yeah, this is how we are healing. When we hearing from devotees, hearing even about their struggles or their fall down or their, but it's also when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj asked Radhanath Swami to write that book about his journey, he told him, Maharaj was saying, well, I don't really want to write a book about myself. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, this is not in one sense about yourself. This is about how wonderful is Krishna, how wonderful Krishna worked in your life and brought you here, right? So with good, it's Satatam Kirtiyantam Mam. The devotees are always hearing the glories of the Lord, and it's nourishing. But the way Vaisheshika Prabhu puts it is, it's very important to have a proper nourishing diet of what we're hearing. This is like, every day we try to get the book open, try to come to the class, try to hear the devotees. And we do this as an offering to the Lord. We come together to glorify Krishna, and Krishna is very pleased by that. You wanted to say something else?
No, that's it, Prabhu. That's it. I just want to say thank you for the class.
We're grateful that you're more and more contributing. We want everybody to feel like that this is a conversation, that it's a circle of truth, and it reinforces our faith. And pleasing to Krishna. Kirtan is unlimited. Who else? Come on, somebody, just say Haribol if you have nothing else to say.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Sometimes our devotional service, when you were talking about how this world is meant for suffering, I was like, oh no, it's one of those classes, pessimistic classes. There's nothing for you in this material world. It's meant for suffering. And then you said something very interesting. You said, but there's a solution to suffering.
Right. There's a cause for the suffering and there's a solution. That's not
solution. Yeah. So that solution is devotional services. Did I get this right? Yeah. So in the course of performing our devotional service, sometimes it gets intense.
Sometimes.
Really tough. And it has to be done every day. Gosh. It requires a lot of commitment and inspiration, strength, which is not always there, at least, for me. So is it that devotional service reduces the suffering, reduces the pain, or it just makes us more resilient, or just more optimistic? And the same amount of pain is coming our way, but we're taking it differently and using it to make progress in devotional service. How does that work? Because, definitely a lot of suffering has been eliminated by devotional service. No meat, no fish, no eggs, no illicit relationship, no intoxication, no gambling. That alone reduces suffering to a large extent. But then devotional service is painful also. Getting up in the morning, it's so painful, gosh. And it's dark outside and you think, oh my God, there's so many things to do. It gets overwhelming. But then when Srimad Bhagavatam starts, when Adi Purusha Prabhu opens his transcendental mouth and starts glorifying Krishna, then everything falls into place. So I just wanted to appreciate you for dragging me out of my rabbit hole, of my crazy mind every day. And thanks to all the devotees who tune in to this class every day so nicely and regularly, contribute in. It's just so inspiring. Just wanted to thank everybody. That's all.
You're asking a very important question and you answered it very nicely. And touching on the idea that there might be suffering. We don't care, right? The human, that verse helps me so much. What Rishabdev said to his sons, in the human form of life, it's appropriate to voluntarily accept austerity. That it's normal. If your daughter was in danger, you would walk through fire, break a brick wall to get through to help her, right? You don't care because of love. So love means you're concerned for the beloved to the point where what you have to do to help that beloved person, to serve that one, you don't care. You voluntarily rejoice at the opportunity to make a little sacrifice as an offering to the Lord. So that's the opposite paradigm. Material life people are saying, go for it, get all you can, make every arrangement possible, because after death there's nothing. So just go for the gusto now. Selfish. The Privity Marg is ridiculous. And then what you said about going to class, when we hear the truth and we see things clearly, it's more easy for us to act appropriately. Now, we're not masochists. We're not trying to, increase our suffering. But the point is that in the service of the Lord, that's our priority. We'll think of Jesus in the garden before the day of his crucifixion. He said, Lord, he knew what was going to happen. He said, this is a very bitter cup you're asking me to drink from. I would rather not drink from this cup, but thy will be done. I'm for you. Look at Prabhupada. He accepted so much austerity, but he was grateful for the opportunity to do something to please his spiritual master. Please, anyone else? Comments, questions? Alan's here, wants to say something. Go on, Alan.
Hi, everybody. My name's Alan. I just want to say how my life's been really transformed by working with Adi, that he's really, gotten me into Krishna. And as a result of working with him, I've asked Radhanath Swami, I've asked to become a disciple of his. I don't know if he will accept me because I'm not sure if I'm worthy, but, I hope that I will be accepted. But it's really due to Adi that I'm doing all this. And I would urge anybody here living in this area to please help us with food distribution Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at Tompkins Park.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Whatever appreciation you offer to me, I pass it on. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada. We accept it, but we pass it on to where the credit is really due. Anybody else? Comments and questions? Jason, you want to say something? No? Anybody else? Gail, you always have the nectar. She always hits the nail on the head. What do you have today?
Just appreciating the fact that everybody else is able to appreciate so much.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, let's all bless Alan. Let's all give him our blessings for initiation. That's so glorious. Alan Prabhu, you're very inspiring to us.
Alan's doing so much service. He's astounding me every day.
Yeah.
Anybody
you
else?
know what else I wanted to highlight? So when I see you, Adi Purusha Prabhu, kissing the bill for many thousands of dollars that comes in the mail in the course of you performing your devotional service, I was just like, wow, this is where I want to be one day. Because if I had that, I'd faint. When
the bill
I
comes,
see you kissing that thing.
we kiss the bill. Krishna, thank you. We want to have an attitude. Laxmi loves to run and jump in Krishna's arms. We're not meant to keep Laxmi. It flows. And Krishna is pleased and Laxmi is happy. And Laxmi comes somehow or other. I can't understand how we're spending between $10,000 and $14,000 a month distribute Krishna's prasadam for the homeless. So every month we have to raise that, and the austerities you're performing, taking care of the guest rooms there, is helping with that so much. So we'll see what Krishna has in store. Definitely, it's a drama. It's a challenge. But the devotees saying, "Come on, we're ready to fight. We're warriors. We don't shirk from the difficulty." And I'm tempted also to cringe and whine and, be intimidated by the austerities we have to perform.
Who do you whine to? Who do you whine to? I never seen that. To Jason or Alan?
Yeah, I'm always complaining to Jason and Alan. I apologize to Krishna every day that I don't rejoice more intensely for this amazing life. We have such an amazing life. People are benefiting. And it's wonderful. I mean, how wonderful is Krishna that he's giving us a chance to show love and to act on the platform of being loving beings instead of, fearful, selfish, timid, ridiculously bewildered people with that kind of an attitude.
Yeah, it's like being a microbe. Microbe is always trying to move his body away from pain or any discomfort, and always seeking some, food, something to filter through his mouth, and then discard it on the other end. It's a very reduced existence when you try to distance yourself from any kind of difficulty or challenge. That's microbial existence.
Yeah, a person who delights in the senses lives in vain. And we've been memorizing this verse because I heard Vaisheshika speaking about it, about how an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery that are due to the contact of material senses with the sense objects. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end. Therefore, an intelligent person does not take part in that. And so that there's the material way of looking at things. We have 2 minutes left. I feel Dr. Schick is about to say something. Dr. Schick, what did you want to say? Unmute yourself.
I also appreciate what this your austerities and excuse me, the fact that excuse me, you're an inspiration. I apologize. Got something stuck in my throat.
If you glorify me, it goes to Krishna. So, but
well, thank you for. You're just providing an inspiration to me. To the idea that you're kissing your bills is amazing to me.
Try it. Everybody try that.
I'll try that.
If the Laxmi is, if the bill is something that has to do with devotional service, we are grateful. Okay, we're rolling right down to the last 30 seconds. Thank you very much, everyone. How wonderful is Krishna. Okay, we love you guys.
Hey, Adi Purusha Prabhu, there's something in the chat. Andrea says, Henry says, thank you for the daily classes, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Henry. Andrea says, Hare Krishna, I have to go. Thank you to everyone for the class and Sangha, Hare Krishna. Julie says, thank you for a beautiful lecture. Always wonderful to hear you speak. Love and respect, Hare Krishna. Jamuna Jaya says, nothing sweeter than devotees appreciating each other. Gotta go, thank you. Thank you, Jamuna Jaya. Matthew says, thank you for a beautiful class, Hare Krishna. And Isabel, Hare Krishna, thank you. Thank you, Isabel. Adi Purusha Prabhu, thank you. Alan Prabhu, thank you. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in and contributing. Have a wonderful day. Kiss your bills. And see you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.